Okay, so we've got your list that you've worked out with your co-leader, and I'm going to do a little show you how we teach the children to ignore. Because that's the other part with that example, is that the other kids aren't looking back at him and he's making faces and they're getting reactions and that sort of thing. This is going to be circle time, and we're doing a lesson on what it means, what ignore is all about, okay? So we all ready for that? And for this one, actually, you are well behaved, okay? Because we're just teaching that lesson. Let's focus on. And you're 4 years old, okay? All right, ready, set, action. Hey, hi, how are you? I'm so glad to be here today. I had something I really wanted to talk to you about. I know, Wally, you really wanted to tell them about a problem that you had. That's right, I really did. I had a big problem today in school, in my classroom.
What happened, Wally?
Well, I was trying to listen to the teacher, and I was really trying to stay focused on the teacher. You know, that big word, focus, and concentrate. And my friend Robert, he was sitting next to me, and he kept whispering at me and talking to me, and he kept saying, "Oh, Wally, I want to tell you what happened out on the playground today. It was really awesome. I got to tell you this." I just couldn't pay attention. It was really hard. Oh man, Wally, how are you feeling? Well, I was just so frustrated. I really wasn't. You know, I said to him, Robert, stop talking to me. I'm trying to pay attention." Ooh. What do you think of that?
That was good.
I bet it worked.
Peter, it didn't work. He kept bugging me and poking me, and he kept saying, "Oh, don't listen to her. I got something much more interesting to tell you." Oh, man. Oh, you were really pretty frustrated, and you were trying pretty hard using your words to tell him. I sure wasn't. I learned that last week, how to do that. But you know what? I've got another idea. You have another idea? I think we have another idea. It's something that I do when I get distracted. Sometimes I get distracted too. What? You get distracted? Oh yeah, I do get distracted quite frequently. So I used to do something that's called ignore. Ignore? I don't know what ignore is. Yeah, it's a big word called ignore. Can you say that word again? Can you say it with me? Ignore. Yeah, well, you know what ignore is. Ignore is what you do. She was kind of like pretending. So when you heard your friend Robert, he was bothering you, you would just look away from him. And you wouldn't even look at him in the eyes. And you just kind of pretend that he's not there. Am I doing it? Oh, you're doing an awesome job. You're not looking at me at all. Would you like to try that one more time? Okay, I'll try it. Okay, so I'm going to be your friend, Robert, and I'm going to try to bother you a little bit. And you're trying to listen to, the teacher. Peter, will you be the teacher?
Sure.
Oh, I'd like you to be my teacher. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to be the one that's bothering you. And what you're going to do is ignore me, and you're going to look at Teacher Peter. Okay, I think I can do that.
All right, let's do this one.
Okay, so you're the teacher. Hey, Wally, pay attention to me over here. Wally, come on. I've got something more awesome. I brought something really special. It's in my pocket. I got to show it to you. Oh, man, it's not working. That is just awesome, Wally. How'd I do?
Good job, Wally.
Oh, wow. That worked, but that was really hard to do. You know, I wanted to see what was in her pocket.
You give Wally a chip?
I think I should get a chip. Okay, I'll give her a chip. Give him a chip. Well, okay, could somebody else try that with me? Peter?
I'll try it.
Yeah, so this time, I'm going to be the one that's bothering you.
Okay.
And
Teacher.
and we have a teacher, and your teacher is over there. And I'm sorry, I'm not remembering. Cynthia. Okay, Your teacher, Cynthia. So just remember, this is pretend, you know. And what are you going to do?
I'm going to ignore you.
Okay, I'm sitting next to you.
So when somebody's trying to talk to you,
Hi, Peter. Peter.
tries to talk to you,
Peter.
you do a good job of
Peter. I have something to tell you here. Can you look and see? I mean, I was on the playground and I did this really awesome thing on the playground, Peter. And it was really, it was cool. And it was really, Peter, pay attention to me. Peter.
Peter needs it.
Here. Oh, wow.
I like getting.
Oh, wow. That was awesome, Peter.
Thank you.
Wow, you must have really strong ignore muscles. Can I feel those?
You want?
They are so strong. Wow, I want to have ignore muscles like that. No
Keep working,
kidding.
Ollie.
I'm going to work on that a lot. I think I can do that. Wow. Yeah, that was what we do. That's what we mean when we talk about ignore. You know, the problem that I have with ignoring my friends, especially my friend Robert, he's really my best friend, is that I feel kind of bad when I ignore him. Like he won't be my friend anymore afterwards. And it's hard for me. Yeah, it is kind of hard to ignore someone. But you know, you can give them back attention later on the playground and all kinds of other places. Well, will he still like me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, you know, not only that, maybe if you ignore him, you're kind of helping him because then he'll remember what he's supposed to be doing, that he's supposed to be listening to the teacher. Oh, you think I might be helping him by doing that? And he won't think bad things about me? Oh, okay. That helps me if I know that I'm kind of helping him. Okay. Okay.
So thinking about that lesson, what are sort of the key things that you want to make sure to help children understand there? What did Carolyn do so well there in that role play?
Well, demonstrating physically what does ignore look like.
Okay, so this is a hard concept, and they have a hint of it from the timeout lesson, but this is a new context. So yeah, these physical role plays. Wally shows it, and then Peter shows it. Yeah, so there's a real physical role play.
It's a
What
new
else?
word.
It's a big word, a
It's
new
good
word.
to remind them that they can ask, or have them, if someone's bothering them, they can ask them to stop. But if they don't, if after the first time they ask, if they don't, then you can ignore it.
Yeah.
after that.
So this is sort of pairing two strategies: the
Yeah.
please stop and the ignore. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Anything else that's important there? Yeah.
I really like that idea of ignore muscles because
The kids love
it's a hard one for kids to do.
Yeah.
When, you know, to not react to what other kids are doing and
Yeah.
whatnot, and to
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, I really like that idea too because, like, I really want to be strong
Yes.
and powerful. I have a lot of Power Rangers, and I like the idea that I'm really building those muscles. So, you think about kids with conduct problems. They're like, they want to be aggressive because it makes them feel they have some power. So you're giving them another way to look strong. Sort of play into that. They
I mean,
want to.
time and time again, I find that we tell kids to ignore, but they keep coming back with the same, and you've already, you know, you have to keep reinforcing that, and I just love the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, just keep practicing ignore, so your muscles get bigger.
Yeah.
Your ignore muscles get bigger, and
So after she teaches this lesson, what's going to be really important, this is sort of reminds me, next time Megan starts making mouth noises in group, what is the group leader going to do?
Praise the others for ignoring.
Praise the others for ignoring, challenge them to ignore. So this is not a one-off. You don't teach it and they all get strong ignoring muscles. You've got to really help them and build, they have to build those up. I think in the end, kids can actually ignore way better than we can once they sort of learn what to ignore and what not to, but it takes a long time. So you're right, this teaches it, and then you have to reinforce it over and over again. One last thing, how did Carolyn set up that role play? Just thinking about what we talked about yesterday in terms of how to use the puppets. How was that role play set up with Peter and Wally? Yes.
Well, Molly was the one
Okay.
bothering Peter.
Yeah. And that's really important when you do this, and sometimes you'll just sort of find yourself in the middle of it and you'll think, well, I'll get 2 kids involved, this will be great, and you bring 2 kids up front, but you don't want to have a kid teasing or bothering. So Wally does that. And she also said it was pretend, and then at the end, she had Wally come back and sort of check back in with Peter and say how strong he was so that if there was any damage done, it's repaired. Yeah.
And then normalizing the ignoring at the end. Like
Yes.
tie up, like,
So I think, yeah, that's an important part to come back. I mean, kids get pretty concrete with skills, right? And they get this tool of ignoring, and they're going to go test it out in different places. And you may have to come, you may have to go back and talk about, well, now we don't ignore parents and teachers, and we don't, I mean, there are all these nuances. And that it isn't a mean thing. It's a way to help.
I mean, you could do that. Wally could have said that, my mother doesn't like it when I ignore her.
Yeah.
I'm confused about this ignore business.
Yeah.
So that could come into it as well. The other thing is, when I had him, was it when he was bothering you? I didn't have him say any like really mean words or.
It's a pretty mild.
It was sort of, you don't really want to do that. So
Yeah.
he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was being a little bit careful about what he
Yeah.
was modeling slightly.
Yeah, and ignore will
Yeah.
come up again later in the problem solving because ignore will be a strategy that you can use when people tease. So it's almost like you build up. First you ignore someone who's off in timeout, and then you learn to ignore distracting behaviors in circle time, and then you learn to ignore teasing behaviors, and hopefully by the time you get to teasing, you've got stronger ignore muscles, right?
Yeah, and you noticed yesterday in the tape we showed you that when we asked them what the rules were, somebody said it was ignore.
And these
They'd
were
already-
our kids who had been in dinosaur school.
They'd been in
Yeah.
dinosaur school,
Yeah.
so that's.
Yeah.
would
Thank
be-
you for being
yeah.
children.
Thank you so much.